What's up, folks? So in this video, we're going to learn how to use a large language model like GPT-4o, so ChatGPT, to create a diagram from text so that when you're reading a piece of text or an article and you find like a paragraph or a part of the text that involves some description of a procedure or like a step-by-step thing, or maybe it's like a description of a program or an algorithm, you can immediately see a visualization of the procedure as a graph. That's what we want to do. It's kind of like a automating the process of creating a knowledge graph type of thing. Okay. So I already prepared this, but we're going to go through the notebook and all the code necessary. So first, we're going to start with our imports. So we're going to use Pydantic so that we can create like a data validation process to organize the data structures for transforming an output from ChatGPT to parameters for creating a knowledge graph. Then we're going to use this in combination with Pydantic. We're going to use OpenAI, of course. We're going to use this instructor package to connect OpenAI with Pydantic. And we're going to use GraphViz for the rendering of the knowledge graph. And I'm not going to be using argparse actually. And now here, what we're doing is we're creating three classes with Pydantic's base model. Okay, we're creating the node class, the edge class, and the knowledge graph. Now, the node represents what you might expect, a node in a knowledge graph, right? It has an ID, a label, and a color. The edge, uh, it's exactly what it looks like. It's the edge of that knowledge graph. And then you have the knowledge graph, which combines the node object and the edge object. And we do it in this very Pydantic style, which is nice, simple, and now we're ready to go. Okay, perfect. Now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to initialize our client using Structor and OpenAI. And then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to have two helper functions initially. The first one is for generating the graph. So this one takes in an input and uses, in this case, I'm using actually GPT 3.5. I actually forgot that I was using GPT 3.5, but this is pretty cool because it's super fast. So we're going to use GPT 3.5 Turbo, and we're going to set the response model, meaning the model is going to output something in the object knowledge graph. All right. And finally, we have a function to visualize the knowledge graph that's generated by this function, okay? So the model is going to output a knowledge graph object, and this function is going to take this knowledge graph object, which is written in Pydantic, and it's going to create the graph. So it's going to create the nodes, it's going to create the edges, and then it's going to render the graph so that we can see it, all right? So that's it. And now here, what we're doing is I created here a simple string example with some piece of text. So it says to calculate the area of a rectangle, first open the rectangle calculator program. It's like I generated this with Llama 3, so it's super easy, simple. Enter, I'm gonna just put it in like, I'm gonna put it as a numbered list. So I'm gonna say 1, calculate the area of a rectangle, 2, open the rectangle calculator. I'm actually gonna call this 1. This is like the description of what the program does. And then 2, enter the length, 3, select the unit, 4, click the, it's a description of a simple procedure. And then 5, review the calculated value, etc. Perfect. And now that we have that, what we're going to do is we initialize our graph. Okay. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to say I'm going to show you here what was generated. This is the function that calls the ChatGPT API connected with the Pydantic object. And the output, as we would expect, is a knowledge graph object that has nodes and edges, just like we expected, which is perfect. And now we use the function to visualize that knowledge graph, which is awesome. And there we go, perfect. So start, rectangle, input length, select unit, this is pretty cool because essentially what we're doing is we're in a very easy and fast way, we can visualize text in a different representation. And I think there's a lot of power to that, and there's a lot of power in the next level of this type of stuff. I mean, we've seen a lot of variations of this right now because AI makes these things possible, so it's super cool. And what I actually have done is I created a simple automation script in my machine that where I can run this whenever I have some text in my clipboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how that works. So essentially, I'm going to show you here on the browser. So I'm going to go to an article that I've read recently. So it's called What We've Learned by Building with LLMs Last Year, something like that, from O'Reilly. There you go. This is a cool article. And in this article, we have, for example, some tips. There you go. So here, when asking the LLM to summarize a meeting transcript, we can be explicit about the steps. So here, they're describing a process for the steps for creating a summary with a large language model. So I'm going to copy these steps, okay? I'm going to copy them. And now I'm going to hit my automation. My automation is called Create Diagram. So now I press Enter. So now it's calling my automation, which is the automation that we've just done here with the knowledge graph stuff. And there we go. And now this is really cool. We have that process described in a nice knowledge graph. So summary is synthesized from Sketchpad. So key decisions, following up, owners, and transcript. Now, there's a lot to say about, how exactly I would like this diagram to be created. And I could get, fancier and, construct something a little bit more interesting. But I think as a study tool and just overall as a nice, neat automation that you can have to visualize parts of some complicated workflow, I think this is super cool. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.